Hello, sir.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the seventh session of the CBSE Class 11 course on the economics course for Statistics for Economics Part 8. So today we will be covering the presentation of data,
Okay.
which is the chapter 4 in the text for Statistics for Economics, and it's for the academic year of 2023-24. So we have displayed the presentation of data in histograms and ogives in the PowerPoint presentations as well. So today we'll be covering the textbook part of it, which is part of the NCERT syllabus. So studying this chapter would enable you to present data using tables, represent data using appropriate diagrams, introduction. You've already learned in previous chapters how data are collected and organized. As data are generally voluminous, they need to be put in a compact and presentable form. This chapter deals with presentation of data precisely so that the voluminous data collected could be made usable readily and are easily comprehended. There are generally three forms of presentation of data: textual or descriptive presentation, tabular presentation, diagrammatic presentation. So in the PowerPoint presentation, we displayed histograms, bar diagrams, pie diagrams, ogives as well, which are the different forms of presentation of data. So first we will look at the textual or textual presentation of data. In textual presentation, data are described within the text. When the quantity of data is not too large, this form of presentation is more suitable. Look at the following cases. Case 1. In a one call given on 8 September 2005, protesting the hike in prices of petrol and diesel, 5 petrol pumps were found open and 17 were closed, whereas 2 schools were closed and remaining 9 schools were found open in a town of Bihar. Case 2. Census of India 2001 reported that Indian population had risen to 102 crores, of which only 49 crore were females against 53 crore males. 74 crore people resided in rural India and only 28 crore lived in towns or cities, while there were 62 crore non-worker population against 40 crore workers in the entire country. Urban population had an even higher share of non-workers, 19 crores, against the workers of 9 crores, as compared to the rural population, where there were 31 crore workers out of 74 crore population. So, as per this data given, we can infer that there is a higher rural population in India compared to an urban population,
Yeah.
and also that there are more males than females as per the Census of India of 2001.
Yeah.
And presently, the population has risen at least to 40 crores because the present population of India is 1.4 billion in 22 years period. And
Okay.
probably the male female ratio has also equaled of recently than in 2001.
Yeah.
And as per UN projections, India is going to be the world's most populous country, surpassing China. Yes. And in both the
Yeah.
cases, data have been presented only in the text. A serious drawback of this method of presentation is that one has to go through the complete text of presentation for comprehension. But it is also true that this matter often enables one to emphasize certain points of the presentation. So we touched the 1 million mark in 2001 census. So this was displayed on the newspapers as well. And the literates
Okay.
were, and the rurals population were more, whereas the literacy and illiterate rate also differed a lot because there were more illiterates in the country than literates in 2001. But presently, it has definitely changed for the better. There are more literacy rate is high in the country. How much is the
Okay.
literacy rate currently in the country? Is it 7% or 70%?
Not sure. 70%?
Yes, it might be more than 70% as of now. We'll
Okay.
just find it out on Google.
Okay.
And how much is the exact population of India?
Um,
It is 142 crores right now.
okay.
Okay. So the literacy is compared or listed out according to the states. So southern states have more literacy rate than the northern states. So probably the average literacy rate of the country is more than 70%. So next
Okay.
we will head to the tabular presentation of data. In a tabular presentation, data are presented in rows, read horizontally, and columns, read vertically. So rows are horizontal and columns are vertical. For example, see table 4.1, tabulating information about literacy rates. It has 3 rows for male, female, and total, and 3 columns for urban, rural, and total. It is called a 3 into 3 table, giving 9 items of information and 9 boxes called the cells of the table. Each cell gives information that relates an attribute of gender, male, female, or total, with a number, or the literacy percentages of rural people, urban people, and total. The most important advantage of tabulation is that it organizes data for further statistical treatment and decision making. Classification used in tabulation is of 4 kinds, which is qualitative, quantitative, temporal, and spatial. So we know the definition of qualitative classification. It is done according to attributes such as social status, physical status, or nationality, etc. It is also called qualitative classification. For example, in 4.1 table, the attributes for classification are sex and location, which are qualitative in nature. So according to the table 4.1, there are more males in urban places, whereas there are more
Yeah.
females also in urban places than compared to rural places. And this
Yeah.
is according to the Census of India of 2001 or 2011, which has risen. The urban population has risen compared to Census 2001. And
Okay.
literacy rates relate to population age 7 years and above. So anyone above the age of 7 can be considered for the literacy rate. Quantitative classification is based on the data which is classified on the basis of characteristics which are quantitative in nature. In other words, these characteristics can be measured quantitatively. For example, age, height, production, income, etc. are quantitative characteristics. Classes are formed by assigning limits called class limits for the values of the characteristic under consideration. An example of quantitative classification is given in table 4.2. Calculate the missing figures in the table. So this is the representation or the distribution of 542 respondents by their age in an election study in Bihar. So there are different age groups from the age of 20 to 90, which have a class width or the lower limit and the upper limit. The difference is 10 between each age group. Then respondents of total, we need to total the number of
Yeah.
respondents. How much will we get after adding up all the
We,
respondents? We get probably,
we don't know.
okay,
There's a 60 to
we
70
don't know
something.
the percentage of the age group
Yeah.
of 60 to 70 as well as the respondents.
Yeah.
Okay. It must be something more than 400 for the respondents.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. We can find out the percentage of the age group of
Okay.
60 to 70. So it is 25.83, the percentage of distribution of respondents. in the age group of 60 to 70 is 25.83%, whereas the respondents, how much would be the respondents? Maybe the total respondents would be more than 400. Right.
Yeah.
So how much is okay? Are we able to find this answer as well for the number of respondents?
Yeah.
Here, classifying characteristic is age in years and is quantifiable. So this source has been retrieved from the assembly election of the Patna Central Constituency in 2005. This research has been conducted by A.N. Sinha Institute of Social Studies in Patna, in Bihar. So there's an activity given, discuss how the total values are arrived at in table 4.1. Construct a table presenting data on preferential liking of the students of your class for Star News, Z News, BBC World, CNN, Aaj Tak, and DDC News. So uh, there are different news channels. Like BBC is a global channel, whereas other and even CNN is a US based channel which is operating globally. Whereas Aaj Tak is only an Indian channel. Even Z News also is Indian news channel. DD News is
Yeah.
the official government channel of India, whereas Star News also is currently a global channel based out of
Okay.
India itself.
Okay.
So prepare a table of height in centimeter and weight in kgs of students of your class. So all these activities can be solved as homework. Next is the temporal classification. In this classification, time becomes the classifying variable and data are characterized according to time. Time may be in hours, days, weeks, months, years, etc. For example, see table 4.3, which represents the yearly sales of a tea shop from 1995 to 2000 in India. So from 1995, the sale of tea in lakhs is 79.2 lakhs in 1995, whereas it's 81.3 lakhs in 1996. 1997, the tea sales in rupees lakhs was 82.4, whereas in 1998, sale was 85 or 80.5 lakhs. In 1999, it was 1 crore 100.2 lakhs. In 2000, it was 91.2 lakhs. So it's an unpublished data. The source is unpublished. In this table, the classifying characteristic is sales in a year and takes values in the scale of time. So there's an activity, go to your school office and collect data on the number of students studied in the school in each class for the last 10 years and present the data in a table. So this can be done at school when school reopens. So we can go to a school office and collect the data on the number of school students
Okay.
studied in the school in the last 10 years in each class from 1 to 12, and we can present this on our table. So this is the
Okay.
third, this is the fourth form of classification of data, which is known as spatial classification. When classification is done on the basis of place, it is called spatial classification. The place may be a village, town, block, district, state, country, etc. So most of the data in census is collected according to the city or the village or the district. So it is classified based on a place. For example, if there's a census conducted in Bangalore city, so it will be conducted according to the areas and according to the districts, which is Bangalore rural and Bangalore urban district as well. And whether uh, they classify the population based on the district is also mentioned. State-wise, it can be either Karnataka or states like West Bengal also. So it is classified according to the place. So table 4.4 is an example of spatial classification, which represents the exports
Okay.
from India to rest of the world in 2013 to 2014 as a share of total export, which is percentage. And which is the highest country which India is exporting to in 2013-14? It is
Um,
definitely in Asia.
Other Asia. Yeah,
Yes. And in the West or the Western countries, we are exporting more to USA because it has an export share of 12.5% as a
yeah,
share of total exports. Others also have a high export share with 18.8 percentage, and even the West Asian countries such as the Gulf countries such as Saudi Arabia, uh, Syria, Iran, and Iraq
yeah,
have totally a percentage of 15.3%. And European Union countries other than Germany, UK, and Russia have 10.9 percentage. So the export share in 2013 to 2014 is less to Russia because it is only 0.7%, whereas it's the highest to other Asia.
yeah.
And the India exports only 4.7 percentage of exports of the total exports to China as well. Japan has 2.2 percentage. So total exports are in US dollars 314.4 billion. So how much does 1 billion mean in Indian rupees? It is actually 7,000 crore rupees.
Oh,
And in activity, construct a table presenting data collected from students of your class according to their native state's residential locality. So this can be done in school as well. So there'll be a diverse representation in a school because there'll be students from other states or from the native state or the home state, and there'll be students from different residential localities in the city that can be classified in terms of spatial classification, which is according to the place. Tabulation of data and parts of a table. To construct a table, it is important to learn first what are the parts of a good or a statistical table. When put together systematically, these parts form a table. The most simple way of conceptualizing a table is to present the data in rows and columns along with some explanatory notes. Tabulation can be done using one-way, two-way, or three-way classification, depending upon the number of characteristics involved. A good table should essentially have the following: a table number. Table number is assigned to a table for identification purpose. If more than one table is presented, it is the table number that distinguishes one table from another. It is given at the top or at the beginning of the title of the table. Generally, table numbers are whole numbers in ascending order. If there are many tables in a book, subscripted numbers like 1.2, 3.1, etc. are also used for identifying the table according to its location. For example, table 4.5 should be read as the fifth table of the fourth chapter, and so on. See table 4.5, whereas the title is the next classification of the tabulation of data and parts of tables. The title of a table narrates about the contents of the table. It has to be clear, brief, and carefully worded so that the interpretations made from the table are clear and free from ambiguity. It finds place at the head of the table, succeeding the table number or just below it. The table 4.5 can be referenced for this title. Captions are column headings. At the top of each column in a table, a column designation is given to explain figures of the column. This is called caption or column heading. Also, table 4.5 can be used for reference. Stubs are row headings like a caption or a column heading. Each row of the table has to be given a heading. The designations of the rows are called stubs or stub items, and the complete left column is known as stub column. A brief description of the row headings may also be given at the left-hand top in the table. See table point 4.5. Body of the table. Body of the table is the main part and it contains the actual data. Location of any figure or data in the table is fixed and determined by the row and column of the table. For example, data in the second row and fourth column indicate that 25 crore females in rural India were non-workers in 2001. For this, you can refer table 4.5. Unit of measurement of figures in the table or the actual data should always be stated along with the table or the title. If a correction, it is title, not table. If different units are there for rows or columns of the table, these units must be stated along with stubs or captions. If figures are large, they should be rounded up, and method of rounding should be indicated. See table 4.5. So what do we infer from the table 4.5? There's a population of India according to workers and non-workers by gender and location as in 2001 given. And there are row
Yeah.
headings or stubs called as urban, rural and all. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Hello?
yes. And also there's a column headings called workers and captions.
Yeah.
There's gender also given as classification and non-workers, and there are total units which are measured in crores, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's also the body of the table which represents the data in numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So are we clear with the table? Do we need to solve it some more?
No.
Okay. So is the source, the source is the next part of the heading. We'll just go back to source.
Okay.
It is a brief statement or phrase indicating the source of data presented in the table. If more than one source is there, all the sources are to be written in the source. Source is generally written at the bottom of the table. Table 4.5 can be referred. So at the end of every table, which we can see the source, which is the Census of India, right?
Yeah.
Which has given all of this data. And there's a
Yeah.
note at the down saying note 4.4 presents the same data. Just
Yeah.
go back. Yes. Which is the same data in tabular form already presented through case 2 and textual presentation of data. So note is the last part of the table. It contains a specific feature of the data content of the table, which is not self-explanatory and has not been explained earlier. So there's an activity given. How many rows and columns are essentially required to form a table? Can the column row headings of table be quantitative? Can we present tables 4.2 and 4.3 after rounding off figures appropriately? Presently, or present the first two sentences of case 2 on page 41 as a table. Some cases or some details of this will be found elsewhere in the chapter. So we can head to diagrammatic presentation of data. This is the third method of presenting data. We have completed textual and tabular presentation of data. This method provides the quickest understanding of the actual situation to be explained by data in comparison to tabular or textual presentations. Diagrammatic presentation of data translates quite effectively the highly abstract ideas contained in numbers into more concrete and easily comprehensible form. Diagrams may be less accurate but are much more effective than tables in presenting the data. There are various kinds of diagrams in common use. Amongst them, the important ones are the following: geometric diagram, frequency diagram, and the arithmetic line graph. Geometric diagram, the bar diagram and pie diagram come in the category of geometric diagram. The bar diagrams are of three types: simple, multiple, and component bar diagrams. Bar diagram has the simple bar diagram as the first. Bar diagram comprises a group of equispaced and equi-width rectangular bars for each class or category of data. height or length of the bar reads the magnitude of data. The lower end of the bar touches the baseline such that the height of a bar starts from 0 unit. Bars of a bar diagram can be visually compared to their relative height and accordingly data are comprehended equally. Data for this can be a frequency or non-frequency type. In non-frequency type data, a particular characteristic, say production, yield, population, etc., at various points of time or of different states are noted and corresponding bars are made of the respective heights according to the values of the characteristic to construct the diagram. The values of the characteristic measured or counted retain the identity of each value. Figure 4.1 is an example of a bar diagram. So we have represented the bar diagram earlier in the
Yeah.
whiteboard. Activity:
Yeah.
collect the number of students in each class studying in the current year in your school. Draw a bar diagram for the same table. This can be done when school reopens. Different types of data may require different modes of diagrammatically representation. Bar diagrams are suitable both for frequency type and non-frequency type variables and attributes. Discrete variables like family size, spots on a dice, grades in an examination, etc., and attributes such as gender, religion, caste, country, etc., can be represented by bar diagrams. Bar diagrams are more convenient for non-frequency data, such as income, expenditure, profile, export or imports over the years, etc. So there's been a figure given in terms of crores, and it's according to the workers. There are three types of workers, which are marginal worker, main workers, and non-workers. The non-workers are higher in crores, which are 62, whereas the main workers just around 32 crores, and the marginal workers are
Oh,
9 crores. A category that has a longer bar or literacy of Kerala than another state or the literacy of Bengal or West Bengal has more of the measured or enumerated characteristics than the other. Bars, also called columns, are usually used in time series data, which is food grain produced between 1980 and 2000, decadal variation in work participation. So, table 4.6 represents the literacy rates of major states of India.
okay.
So, Andhra Pradesh has a 70.3 literacy rate for males, whereas it has only a 50.4 literacy rate for females. In our country of India, Kerala has the highest literacy rate, as it has a 94.2 literacy rate for males and 87.7 literacy rate for females. And in 2011, Kerala has a literacy rate of 96.0 percentage for males, whereas for females it is 92 point percentage. That
Okay.
means that the literacy rate has risen in a 10-year period, even in the state of Kerala from 2001 to 2011, as the literacy rate for both females and males have gone up by percentages of 1.8 and 4.3 respectively. Which is
Okay.
the state with the lowest literacy rate in the country? Can it be called Bihar? Because it
Uh,
has only a 59.7 percentage for males, whereas it has only a meager 33.1 percentage for females. Whereas the
yeah.
state of Karnataka has a literacy rate of 76.1 percentage for males and 56.9 percentage for females in 2001. Whereas in 2011, it has a literacy rate of 82.9 percentage for males and 68.1 percentage for females, which has shown a good improvement from 2001 to 2011.
Yeah.
And the state of West Bengal has a literacy rate of 77 point percentage in 2001, whereas it has 59.6 percentage for females in 2001. In 2011, the literacy rate for males has increased by 5.7 percentage for males, and for females, it has increased by 12. or 11.6 percentage. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably it has increased by 11.6 for females in the state of West Bengal in 2011. And according to the data provided by each state, the male literacy ratio in 2011 census is 82.1, whereas it is 65.5, which is the average literacy rate for females in the country.
Yeah.
So that's quite an improvement, but we should see that the female literacy rate also has to equal the male literacy rate. Maybe how can literacy rate be improved? It can be improved by sending females to schools to
Yeah.
educate them, to send them to undergraduation courses, to complete their
Yeah.
higher education as well, and to be working in jobs.
Yeah.
So there's a presentation of data given in bar diagrams. So literacy rate is plotted on the y-axis in terms of percentages. This data source according to table 4.6, and the major states are plotted at x-axis, and the literacy rate for as a percentage or average percentage is given in bars. As we can look at the bar diagram, Kerala has the highest literacy rate at 96.0 percentage. The
Yeah.
second state with highest literacy rate is Maharashtra with 89.8 percentage,
Yeah.
whereas Gujarat or Uttarakhand has a literacy rate of 88.3 percentage. Gujarat has a literacy rate of 87.2 percentage. So these four states, being Kerala, Uttarakhand, Maharashtra, and Gujarat, are the most literate states in the country according to the percentage.
Okay.
And also, there's the state of Tamil Nadu, which is the fifth highest literate state in the country. So, figure 4.1 we have studied, and the 4.2 as well.
Okay.
In figure 4.1, just as we displayed on the bar diagram, shows the bar diagram showing male literacy rates of major states of India in 2011. Literacy rates relate to population aged 7 years and above. So
Okay.
bar diagrams can have different forms such as multiple bar diagram and component bar diagram. Activities.
Mm.
How many states among the major states of India had higher female literacy rate than the national average in 2011? Which states had the highest literacy rate than the national average in 2011 for
Kerala.
for females? Yes,
Kerala.
yes, definitely. For
Okay.
females, because it has 92.0 percentage in
Yeah.
2011, yeah. And even in 2001, it had a literacy rate of 87.7 percentage. It's
Yeah.
higher than the national average of 53.7 for males and
Okay.
65.5 for females. So Kerala definitely has the higher literacy rate. And any other state, we have the states of Karnataka as well, which has a female literacy rate of 56.9, which is higher than the national average of 53.7 in 2001. And in 2011,
Yeah.
it has a female literacy rate of 68.1, higher than the national average literacy rate for females of 65.5 percentage.
Yeah.
Even Haryana has the same. It has a higher female literacy rate in 2001 as well as in 2011 as well.
Okay.
Has the gap between maximum and minimum literacy rate of females over the states in two consecutive census years, 2001 and 2011, declined? Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
There's been an improvement. The maximum and minimum have constantly declined in 2001 and in 2011 as well. There's a lower gap
Yeah.
Multiple bar diagram. Multiple bar diagrams or in figure 4.2 are used for comparing two or more sets of data. For example, income and expenditure or import and export for different years, marks obtained in different subjects in different classes, etc. So there'll be two diagrams in multiple bar diagrams. It can be two or more sets of data. The examples are income and expenditure or export, import, or marks obtained in different subjects like science, chemistry, or economics, or political science, or English language, or English literature as well in different classes. So component diagram, or component bar diagram or charts, which is represented in figure 4.3, are called subdiagrams, are very useful in comparing the sizes of different component parts or the elements of parts which thing is made of, and also for throwing light on the relationship among these integral parts. For example, sales proceeds from different products, expenditure pattern in a typical Indian family, which has components being food, rent, medicine, education, power, etc. Budget outlay for receipts and expenditures, components of labor force, population, etc. Component bar diagrams are usually shaded or colored suitably. So according to female for literacy rate of major states of India, which is represented in 4.2 figure, there are multiple bar diagrams showing female literacy rates over two census years of 2001 and 2011. And the data source is table 4.6, which is the above table, which we went through at a glance. So
Yeah.
interpretation of figure 4.2, it can be very easily derived from figure 4.2 that female literacy rate over the years was an increase throughout the country. Similar other interpretations can be made from the figure. For example, the figure shows that the states of Bihar, Jharkhand, and Uttar Pradesh experienced the sharpest rise in female literacy, etc. Bihar, Jharkhand, and Uttar Pradesh have the lowest literacy rates, but they experienced higher literacy rates or the sharpest rise from the year of 2001 to 2011. And table 4.7 represents or depicts the enrollment by gendered schools in terms of percentage of children aged 6 to 14 years in district of Bihar. So gender is boy, girl, and alls. All are boys and girls. Enrolled in terms of percentage and out of school or school dropouts are in terms of percentage. So
Okay.
91.5 boys enrolled to school. So 8.5 dropped out of school.
Okay.
Whereas for girls, 58.6% enrolled into schools in the district of Bihar, and
Yeah.
41.4 girls went out of school. And in total, 78 percentage of boys enrolled to schools in the state of Bihar in a particular district, whereas there were only 22 percentage of both boys and girls who went or dropped out of school in the district of Bihar, aged 6 to 14 years. A component bar diagram shows the bar and its subdivisions into two or more components. For example, the bar might show the total population of children in the age group of 6 to 14 years. The components show the proportion of those who are enrolled and those who are not. A component bar diagram might also contain different component bars for boys, girls, and the total of children in the given age group range, as shown in figure 4.3. So there is a figure 4.3. This can be revised as an assignment and activities can be solved when the schools are reopened. We will continue the
Okay.
next session on 28th May 2023 and we'll be starting at 11 a.m. as well. So till then, have a great day and have a great time. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah.